What's going on, all you beautiful, beautiful people out there? Welcome back to another episode of Tunnel Vision. My name is Adam. Today, we got another guest on our podcast, good friend of mine, and you might have heard him in the last podcast. Dan, come on down.
Hello.
Yeah.
I'm on my seat. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's been a night.
It's been a night.
We're recording all these podcasts with these two on the same night, and we just had a riveting game of 2K.
Yeah, and riveting. That's what you call it.
It got very loud.
Yeah, so, I mean, I won, so
yeah,
not really.
But we had fun. David and I had fun.
We had fun.
So I think we're the real winners.
Okay,
that's my guy. So how you feeling, man?
I'm good. No, it's been. I haven't completely died in 2021 yet, so I feel like that is a success.
That is good, yeah. For sure.
No, it's like I definitely like 2021. Like, it's like still gonna suck. I feel like, which is really unfortunate, but I have hopes that it will be at least better than 2020.
Me too. You gotta stay hopeful out there, man. You got to.
It's the sort of thing where, like, I'm so ready to, like, everything to be normal and, like, not have to walk around with, like, a piece of cloth on my face. But, like, it's the sort of thing where, you know, shout out to, like, all the vulnerable people. You just gotta take care of your homies, and that's what all this is about.
That is true, man. That is very, very true. Well, just quickly intro you. Like I said, you might have heard him on the last podcast. He brought us out our candies for the last episode. This is my good buddy Dan. He's my roommate back at college. Well, not right now.
Yeah, roommates.
Because COVID. But, yeah, good friend of mine. We met back a junior year as well. I guess that summer before.
Yeah, so what was that, 2018?
Yeah, 2018. The summer of 2018.
Yeah.
Damn.
We're old.
Yeah, we met back at a camp for Towson, man.
Yeah. It always comes back to band.
It really does. But yeah, that shit's wild. So let's just get like a quick rundown of who you are. You're a pretty interesting guy, I think. So,
I try and be interesting. I feel like I make myself appear more interesting than I actually am, but that's what it's about, you know?
I agree. So tell the people, who are you, Dan?
So first things first, the only interesting thing about me is my expired green card. So I was originally born in the UK. I was born in a little town called Warrington, between Liverpool and Manchester. Immigrated to the US at the ripe old age of 2. So obviously I no longer have the accent, which is really unfortunate.
Yes.
I lose a lot of cool points from that. But no, moved around to lots of different places. In that list, we have Arkansas, South Carolina, Virginia, Arizona, New Jersey, and, well, just recently in this year, obviously I now live pretty much in Maryland, but my family has relocated to New York. So,
yeah.
I've been a lot of places. Learned different things in all of those places, but had a really good time. So
why did you move around so much?
Well, it always came down to my dad's job. We are not an American military family. I feel like that's pretty obvious.
No.
No. So, no, it's my dad, who I absolutely love. He's the best. He's a chemical engineer. And just through different things and different job choices and relocations, we just ended up moving around to different places. There's a lot of really fun stories. For example, whenever I tell this story, people always get super weird in the fact that my dad, who is a chemical engineer, when we lived in South Carolina, worked for Starbucks. Everyone freaks out when they say that, like, oh, your chemical engineering dad was working on my coffee.
That's better, though, because he already knows how to mix stuff up. I feel like that's the perfect segue.
There's a hysterical picture from when they were, like, opening up, like, a new, like, coffee plant of him, like, with, like, the big scissors and, like, a red ribbon.
Oh, my God.
It's so funny.
Incredible.
And, like, it took to, like, last year for me to finally start drinking coffee because I was so scarred from that 2 years of my life of, like, the garage always smelling like coffee.
Right. But tea is better though.
Oh, tea is 100% better. Well, that's what I ended up drinking. Is that like it's tea, you know? But I actually think recently I've drunk more coffee than I have tea. So
Gotcha.
don't tell anyone.
I won't say anything. But you do work at Panera, so you can get some coffee.
I no longer work at Panera.
Well, you worked there.
I did work at Panera.
Forever.
I worked at Panera for like 2 years, on and off.
It was like the longest time.
It was pretty much my entire life. I mean, shout out Mother Bread.
Yeah, basically.
I mean,
came out of the womb straight up.
Came out of the womb, put that bread back in the oven, you know? It's like...
Literally.
But no, yeah. So I've done a lot of different stuff. Pretty much every state I've lived in, I've done like a different activity. So I'm consider myself quite well-rounded, but also I'm very passionate about what I am passionate about.
Yeah, I would agree. I think all of us in our little bubble are very passionate people about whatever like we're doing at the time.
Oh, for sure. It's like, I mean, like those passions like change, you know, we'll go like different directions. But I think that's something that really roots all of our friends, including David, but also like some of our other friends outside of that group, into that as well. So it's definitely really fun. It would really suck if we were friends with like boring people.
Oh, dude.
So like being friends with people that are really cool makes it so much better.
Right. Isn't that the thing though? Like I've talked about it before, but like having a big group of friends that you're like hanging out with and like you barely know any of them, and it's just like it's cool because you know you can, if you're a person that likes to go party or like go out in big groups, do stuff like that, incredible, right? But I feel like if you have a smaller group like we do and you just like get to know all the layers of somebody, and I think that's like really when
I have some real horror stories of like me trying to be cool with everyone.
Oh dear.
I was telling David one earlier today, is that in the 8th grade, you ready for this? In the 8th grade, me and my friend, who we thought would be really cool if we could commentate the teachers versus varsity basketball game.
Oh, I remember this.
And when I tell you is the cringiest thing I have ever, is like we went up to this gym teacher. We were like, okay, listen, what if you gave us a mic and no rules and just let us talk for like 60 minutes over a basketball game?
Do you have a video?
Unfortunately there's not a video. But it's like this like English guy who like knows nothing about basketball, like to this day.
Yeah.
And then my other friend who kind of knew basketball, but like not really. And it was the sort of thing where we were like quote unquote talking about basketball, but it was really just a laugh at the people and us as much as possible, except none of the jokes landed. So it is thank God I moved away from Arizona after 8th grade, because like I don't know if I could have lived with that on my body. Just oh my gosh.
Christ. Yeah, there's some terrible like there's some bad horror stories from back in the day like that you think of, and it's just like pain just like searing through your body. And I'll give one. So it was my senior year. And this hurts me to this day so unbelievably. You have no idea.
No.
So
I'm kind of scared.
So we have it's really not that bad. It just hurts me. So every school's marching band has a cadence, right?
Yeah.
You know, you play it when you go up from the football field, you go down to the football field, literally all over the place you play this thing.
Of course.
So we made this thing, me and this other dude, my junior year. Just like kind of we're playing through the cadence, and we just like put some swing on it.
Oh,
okay.
No.
And it was hot, and I will stand by. It's really cool. I will stand by that like until I die. And we're always talking to our band director. We're like, we gotta play this at some point. And he never let us do it. So my dumb ass, I was like, I got authority now. I'm gonna just do it one day, and we're gonna go back up to the school, and we're gonna play it this way, okay? And we're getting in our groove, and we're getting ready to go back up, and I tap it off, and first off, I'm playing snare that year, and so I took the quad drummer's quads because it's like mainly a quad feet, like pretty much a quad
Yeah.
feature the whole time. So I tap it off and nobody knows what's going on. And we start playing it. And it's the same thing. It's just like with a little bit of swing on it. And we got maybe like 5 bars in before the director was like, what are you doing? We don't do that here. Re-tap it. And we all were and like the bass drums had no idea what was going on because we were just like, yeah, just play like 2 and 4. Like that's all you got to do. Cool. And then like you know, all of us upperclassmen like knew what we were doing, and we just stood there, and like me as the dude that was like, hey, we got to do this. I was sitting there like,
you know it's bad when the band director gives you that like stank face. The like what are you doing face. So it's like they can't like yell at you because they're in front of people, but it's like the.
No, he yelled.
Oh, whoa.
Okay. He yelled. Yeah, no, I did not come into class that Monday because I was like, I am not going to be here for that talk. So I did, but I was just red. And then I had to go all the way back up on quads, like play the normal thing. And it's just a lot. But there was some underclassmen that like had made a meme of it. Like, you know, there's a Always Sunny in Philadelphia meme where like, the dude like gives this other guy the plate and then he takes the plate and chucks it.
Oh my gosh.
And it was like the drum line trying to do something new and exciting with the cadence, and then Mr. Lloyd yeah.
I feel like that like when you have lots of dumb stories though, like especially things that like you've done like yourself, you like learn to laugh at yourself, which is such a strong trait. If like you can like learn to like not take yourself too seriously, life gets so much easier.
Right.
Because like if you just allow yourself to make mistakes, like there's nothing you can do that's like too bad.
Right.
Like
for sure.
Obviously you can make like really serious mistakes, but like those like little things, the whoops, like I like slipped and fell. Like if you can just laugh at yourself, like for one, it makes everyone around you less uncomfortable. Because like the worst thing is like when someone like trips and falls. And everyone's just like waiting for the social cue. It's like, okay, should we be like helping you or like laughing at you? Right. Which is the word like that awkward. Like you see someone fall and everyone's kind of like, what do we do?
But if that person like starts breaking out laughing,
exactly. Well, exactly. If you're like big enough to be like, oh yeah, no, like this is funny, like it's chill. Then like it's such a strong thing.
Right. And I think that's something that just like relays confidence. You know, like all the kids that were popular back in high school, they were the ones that like could always make fun of themselves, and like they should because they did a lot of dumb shit. But like,
for sure, like that's it. If you don't have at least like obviously we told the basketball story, but I can think of at least like 3 more stories throughout my scholastic career that like just absolutely should have ended my life. Yeah, just like absolutely like just cut it off.
Curl up in a little ball and just stay home forever.
Yeah, no, it's a real time. Like it is what it is, but you learn to get over it and you become a better person. What else can you ask for?
Nothing really.
I mean, you don't need anything else.
I don't know, man. I couldn't tell you. Oh my god. Anyway, so just a little background on how you and I met. So like I mentioned earlier, we met at a marching band camp, everything going back to marching band like you said, at Towson University, which is where we're at now.
Just pure random luck.
Yeah. Just, you know, it was so when you go there you get put into a room of 4.
Yeah,
4 people. And I was with my drum major and then 2 random people, and you were one of those random people.
Yeah.
And this camp was like a bunch of section leaders from like around pretty much just came and like played some music over a couple days. But you're there in like the dorm rooms for those couple days that you're there, and for each one of those days that we were there, like the 4 of us that were in that room just like stayed up until like butt late. Like,
I remember them always being like, so I know you guys are like high schoolers and you like to stay up, but you should really get your sleep. And we just completely like we easily just talked about like, and like especially after just meeting each other, like the deepest stuff. Yeah. Until like 2-3 o'clock in the morning, knowing we had to get up at like 6:30 for band.
It was very strange because none of us really knew. I didn't even really know my my drum major at the time, and we were all just like, hey, I guess we're just going to talk about like the deepest of thoughts that we have together. Sound good? Cool.
Yeah, it was super crazy, and like we just all opened up so quickly, which is like not something you expect with high school kids very often.
No, but we're also you and I and those other two dudes are a bunch of softies, so it's
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
Stuck us all in a room, and we're like, "Hey, you're gonna be slightly caffeinated."
Do you want to know my feelings?
Seriously, none of my other friends will listen to my feelings. You want to listen?
Finally, someone will listen.
Somebody cares. No, I remember going through that because we had talked about two things I remember that stick out specifically. We had talked about one, a relationship that I was in at the time.
Yep, I remember that. I remember that. That was the time.
Yeah. Because that was nearing the end of that. So it was like, hey, boys, what do you think about this?
It was one of those where it was like, so, like, I know I should do this, but, like, tell me I should do this.
Back me up, please.
Back me up, boys.
Yeah. And then another one is and this was the first time I had really talked about this in my life, was just like sexuality. Like, because both of those two dudes, one of them is gay and then the other one is bi.
Yep.
And, you know, I had friends through high school that were gay and bi, but I'd never really like spoken to them about their experiences and stuff. And that was the first time that I personally had ever been exposed to that. And that was really cool. Like, for me anyway, as like a straight dude that is like never
for sure.
that conversation.
I would say it's absolutely like not how I am, but it was really interesting to hear that different perspective.
Right.
And this sort of thing, because it's very often to kind of like people that are like different than you in any sense, it's very easy to be like, okay, like you're just like weird, like I don't get you.
Yeah.
But that was definitely one of the first times to like sit down with someone that had a very distinct difference from me.
Right.
And just like talk it out and be like, hey, like you're kind of cool, and like we're all kind of cool.
Yeah.
So like just being able to like hear from that, and like it was definitely really eye opening. Not just in the sense of like learning like how they think, how they work, and everything like that, but also just like listening to anyone that's different than you is so fascinating.
It's super, super interesting, and like especially. Well, like in that case, like with the drum major that I knew, and like I had known, you know, through high school that he was gay, and I like had never talked to him again, and just like hearing some of the experiences that he had through high school, like growing up through, like especially where we grew up in, it's not like a super diverse place. It's not necessarily like Southern Catholic and you know like all white, right? But it's definitely like not the most diverse place you've ever been to. So especially in an environment like that where it is accepting, but not like so openly like other places are. You know?
Yeah, and like this is like a super deep thing anyway. But it's like if you just say like as men in general, like we don't talk about stuff like that. Yeah. And so we kind of like I remember the first night was kind of like very much everyone was kind of like edging around, kind of like, can we like really open up about this? Like, you know, like I'm like even though like we're in high school, especially with new people, you're like trying to like the best version of yourself, like the biggest guy, like whatever. Especially because you're at a college that like I know I went because I was interested in going to school there. Yeah. So it's like I'm trying to impress people, you know, I'm trying to like see if this is the place for me. So it's very easy to like put up those walls of like I need to be the coolest version of me possible. But like it was so, I mean, like we've been saying, it was so powerful to just like close down those barriers, those walls between people that, like we said, we had not really gotten experience from before. So.
Right. Yeah, and especially with the next year, like with deciding to go to that school, and it's like such a diverse place, just like just in general, it's because of location, and I think that was an experience that was like necessary for us, and in the way that like it's your first step into the door of like, hey, there's this whole world out there, right? And you know, you see it through media and like through TV and through movies and stuff like that, but you know, you really have to experience it for yourself to like really broaden your perspective on that kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely.
And like I was saying, like in here and where you're from, like you don't really get that experience all the time, and being able to put your foot into the door and then come into this new experience like fully ready for that.
Yeah, and putting yourself out there as well. Like it's really it's so hard to like put yourself out there, but I would argue it's just as hard to like listen and like to hear people.
Definitely, yeah.
Like it's I don't remember who it was that said it to me, but I was like it's so easy to hear people, but it takes a real person to like listen. And that's like if you want to like quote me in your yearbooks, go for it.
Facts, dude, facts.
Yeah, so it's just about, I think definitely adulthood and learning how to be an adult for me has been about understanding not like what people do, but like why people do things.
Right.
And I think that kind of encompasses everything, not just like passion projects, but like how people react to things, how people make choices, and kind of realizing that like everyone has a reason for something. So
yeah, for sure. And it's easy to be like blinded in your own perspective, right, and your own like privilege person.
Well, and like blinded by emotion as well,
and that too, right? Because it's so hard to sometimes get out of that tunnel vision that you're in.
Yeah, tunnel vision.
Yeah, good one, right? Yeah, we're that podcast now. That's right. But again, it's so hard to get out of that when you're looking at something from the other side like that. It's difficult to take stuff from that. So learning to, even if you don't agree with something, just like taking little bits and pieces of it and trying to apply it in any kind of way in your life, I think that's like something really important for growing up.
Well, and I would say, not to like hype you up, but I think that living together, we learned a lot about that really quickly, because Adam is great, but there are a lot of places where Adam and I differ, but are also very similar. So I think that like that's one of the great things about college is it forces you to live with people that like you might really like them and they might be really cool, but you will have differences. And I think that that's honestly really cool. So like I know like in the last podcast they were talking about the fact that like David and Adam were always like padding out, drumming out, practicing drums and all this stuff. And there was 100% some nights where I was just like, can you please
for sure.
go to bed? Like I want to sleep.
Yes. David was just back there mouthing shut the fuck up. Just in case you needed to know that. But yeah, man, like and it's a very I like this little threesome of dudes we got here and because like each of our relationships like separately with each other, they're very different. Right. For sure. So like David and I are a little bit more similar and you and I are a little bit more different in some, but we're all like we all have like a structure and a base of similarities with us, right? But there's some like interests and things like that we differ from both ways. Right. And I think it's cool to experience that because we're all so like strongly bonded and like equally like with both of you, even though the relationship is different.
We mentioned earlier that unfortunately with COVID that you're not living with me this year.
Right.
But one of the upsides of that is I've gotten to know David a little bit better. Yeah. Which I never really did last year. Not because either of us like wanted to, but it was the sort of thing where it's like because both of us are around a little more, I've gotten to know him. I mean, obviously, I still love you a lot. It's and I do miss you, but it's the sort of thing. It's like it's been a unique opportunity to kind of get to flesh out my relationship with David a little more.
Right, because David and I had all that time where we were going to like rehearsals and stuff together, and like with teaching and also just like in band, because we were always around each other all the time. So we got to flesh that relationship out, and then you and I got to do that because we were roommates, but that never happened as much.
Yeah, certainly it's very interesting when you have the two drum kids and then the brass boy. Yeah. It's like that little different way that my brain works, perhaps.
But I think the coolest thing just about all of like just the experience we've had at college and all of our friends and specifically us, we've been able to open up to each other like more than I've opened up to anybody in the entire world, and it was the first time that me personally I ever opened up like that was with you guys, and especially you.
I remember
had a lot of talks.
I remember there was one day where we went to the supermarket in the fall and we just like got Oreos and milk and we didn't really speak about it at that time, but you could kind of tell it was going to be a long night. Yeah. You kind of tell that like there was going to be some like deep stuff to come out. And like, so one of the things that the two of us like love to do is and this is a pro tip, is you take your Oreo, you put it on a fork and dunk it.
Hold on real quick. This is my thing, okay?
Absolutely.
I have
100%
been
Adam's
preaching
thing.
this since
And
day
I have
one.
I have been blessed by this opportunity.
It is incredible.
So
if you think it's weird,
you're
get
wrong.
out.
You're wrong.
You're totally wrong.
Is like you take your Oreo, put it on the fork, you put it in the milk, and then like you leave it for like 10, 15 seconds. Doesn't need to be forever. Just a little, little dip. And then you suddenly have this Oreo that's like, you're not trying to like dip, because you get all of the Oreo with milk. You don't have that little corner that's still like dry. But then you also don't have like a soggy Oreo. It's that like perfect, like,
and you don't get your
in the
finger
middle.
like there's
exactly
in the
like
milk
fingers.
Yeah,
nah,
that's
not for
whack.
Me.
That's
not
whack.
For me.
Why are you doing that? Why do you want milk on your fingers? That's kind of weird, bro.
Kind of weird.
Chill out. Okay, so
David's making faces at us.
David is doing things behind camera that are disturbing, and I'm glad that he's not up here, so none of you at home have to watch that are watching. And to all the listeners, you're welcome as well.
Yeah, I just, it's especially like, and it's one of those like, not to be like cute, but I think especially with us being more part this semester has strengthened our relationship, and the fact that like, like we can have our space and like kind of, but like still like have a lot of fun, which is really cool. Right. Like we both say we're both really bad texters.
Oh, it's incredible
like,
how terrible we are at texting.
Like, especially we're both people that's like, oh, like I should text them, but like, what if I'm like bothering them? But like, what, and like all this stuff. So both of us are like that, and so if both people are like that, then you just never text each other.
Yeah.
It's kind of, and especially it's like what do you talk about when you're texting? It's like, hey.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and a thing about that too is like if you don't text as much, like when you get together, you're gonna have more shit to talk about.
Oh, absolutely.
So you're not just sitting there in silence, like on your phone, looking at Instagram, like sitting next to each other. Like you're actually gonna talk to the other person instead of just like talking all the time through text. It pisses me off that more people like aren't like that. It's like,
and like texting has its place.
Yeah,
absolutely,
for sure.
But
it's okay to not text someone. Like they're gonna be all right. They're not gonna die. Well, they're most likely not gonna die.
I mean, you wear your mask.
Wear your mask.
No dying.
Wear your mask. 6 feet. I'm looking at you, whoever you are. That's right.
Put it on. That was the most like parental like. Hey you, son. No.
You're gonna get 3 spanks with a belt if you
don't. No spanks.
Yes, spanks.
No spanks.
All the spanks. That's right. Oh my god. Yeah.
No, safe to say we have quite a good relationship.
We do. We definitely do.
And we've got because I remember the way that us rooming together ended up happening is that I went confirmed to Towson. I was going to go to Towson pretty early. I was pretty set.
Yeah.
That I wanted to go to Towson, even though I was living in New Jersey at the time and it was out of state. And I had a couple different offers from different schools that I could have gone to, but I just gelled so well with the Towson vibe and the Towson community that I wanted to come here. So I posted something on the gram, and then Adam slid into my DMs and was like, "Hey, like you're going to Towson?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I am going to Towson," because we had like kept talking a little bit.
Sorry about that. Had some technical difficulties, but we are back.
It was 100% David's fault.
Most likely, yes. I would agree that it's fully David's fault. Yeah.
So there's this rumor going around that
it's David's fault.
Well, here's the thing, is that because he doesn't have as much lung function, it's all in his brain. He has telekinesis, so he stopped the recording.
Oh my god.
David is agreeing with this behind the camera.
Cool.
Just so
I'm
know.
good with that. I'm fully okay with blaming him. That's totally cool.
We love David.
Yeah.
David did nothing wrong except become a chemistry major.
So hopefully this one works. This is our second attempt at redoing it. So here we go. Hopefully it's better. So we left off talking about how we were waiting to hear back about our room situation. Yeah. So we were at Allentown for a DCI competition.
Not together.
Separated. Because we were not married at that point.
No.
But we were with different people. And we were just chilling at like opposite sides of the stands watching this thing. And we were just looking at our phones, like refreshing a bunch just to like see like who we're rooming with, right? and we're going through the show, and then eventually it pops up, hey, we're roommates. Awesome. Nailed it. So we were really excited about that because we didn't really like want any randos because that would be bad.
It would have been awful. It would have been like getting to know your person. Like when you have to spend the time to get to know someone when you're rooming, that like instantly like makes everything so much harder.
Right.
Whereas like we pretty much knew each other, so we could just get down to learning how to live together.
Yeah, I've heard too many horror stories. Like my mom had a terrible roommate when she first got to college.
I have too many friends that like have had just absolute stinkers, and like I'm sure they're lovely people, and there is someone to be their roommate, but not necessarily
just not compatible.
Yeah,
for, so it's good to find somebody you're compatible with. To
well, and especially because we were both doing music degrees at the time,
right?
That helped a lot. So like
at the time,
well, and especially in the fall. No, especially in the fall because I was taking percussion techniques and you were taking brass techniques, which is the opposite of what we actually play. Right. So I play brass, French horn more specifically, and you play percussion.
Yes.
All the
the drummy hit thing very well. Yes.
So it's like it would be like the evening, and like I would have this like drum pad out, just like absolute garbage, just completely like rolls weren't even. It was bad.
It's true. He sucked.
I still suck to this day. I passed the course, did great, but I still just suck.
And then in the morning for me, that's what my lesson time was. I got to wake him up to the beautiful sounds of me not being able to play the brass instrument.
There's nothing like waking up to the noise of a very badly played brass instrument next door.
Fantastic. What a time.
Well, it's like if people think that like the Apple like alarm is scary, no. It's when you hear like a C major scale, it's like
right.
And it's awful. So bad.
Not the best of times, but we tried to help each other since we did like know what we were doing for our own personal instrument. But we were just like so terrible about like helping each other out.
Well, it's especially bad when like all the terms and like it's like because like if like a sixth grader was like, okay, like I'm learning how to play French horn, like how do I do this, that's super easy. But like it's especially rough when say a college student that is good at music,
right?
And all this stuff when you're just like, play it,
do the thing, please.
It's like especially like with like a brass instrument, there's so many like micro things that you need to do with like your face to like make it sound good. It's like so hard to describe that, but especially with someone who knows their way around music, because it's like, okay, well, like. And it's especially frustrating when you know your way around music because you know what it should sound like. Yeah,
you understand like everything on the page. You fully get that. You just can't physically do it. And
and it's like it's especially because in our case is like I'd heard you play drums constantly. Yeah, and, like I knew what like drums should sound like, and you'd heard me practice, and you know what horn is supposed to sound like. But there's absolutely nothing you can do to even get close to that. So no, it's a good time. We had a lot of very funny moments with stuff like that.
Yeah, just being pretty terrible. But it's a semester course. You're not expected to fully learn
You're not supposed
how
to be
play
a master.
Something. But it's just kind of to understand what you're doing a little bit. It's for the purpose of teaching. So
absolutely.
Just kind of understanding what to tell your students.
Music is definitely like a big part of our relationship. I mean, obviously it's how it all started, but like even to this day, like a lot of what we like talk about and enjoy is still music.
Right. I mean, that's kind of like, well, it's been our whole thing for like a very long time. So, and especially like with some of the things that we like and, like personally, like with both of us listening to specific artists and being able to like understand everything going on in a song and like how the song's formatted and like the different scales and like the progressions of it and all that kind of stuff. It's a thing where you get to view music at a deeper level than maybe someone who's just like a casual fan of music. And I think it's very interesting and very cool, like for us anyway, that even if you have like some pop thing that like you're listening to, like you can still break it down on like a level to where you understand it conceptually.
Yeah, it's super easy, especially like doing like music degrees, to be like, I am a music nerd who likes Beethoven.
Yes.
It's like, and like, don't get me wrong, Beethoven slaps, but like, it's the sort of thing, it's like having just a general understanding and love for music will take you so far. Yeah. Not even just scholastically, but just like in life. If you can have appreciation for like minute stuff, whether that field is music or something else, then you just begin to appreciate the macro stuff as well.
And you know, there's also some like great YouTube channels specifically that break down like some Charles Cornell.
Yeah, Charles Cornell. Charles Cornell.
I can't believe you butchered my man's name like that.
I'm sorry.
But he's sick. He does a bunch of breakdowns on like some just like basic songs that you would think is just like nothing. And the most recent one that I personally watched was the Wii music.
Yeah.
And he talks about like all of this stuff and like how it's actually really, really good music that we just kind of have taken for granted. Like to the point where they could just like be jazz standards because they're so good and well written. So it's just like stuff like that where you would never know unless.
Well, it's especially one of the great things about the internet is that like this like seeing people appreciate the things that you do. So like I know another one of his videos, he does a video about Whitney Houston's Star Spangled Banner.
Yes.
Which if you have not listened to Whitney Houston's Star Spangled Banner,
do it.
Like press pause right now. I'm talking press pause. Go listen to Whitney Houston sing the Star Spangled Banner. It's 100% the best it's ever been done.
And then come back.
Well, Fergie. We'll come back.
Fergie though.
There's like
kind of a bang. Not gonna lie.
Unique, I think, is a good word.
Well, isn't she though? She's so
unique.
She put a lot of her personality into it. I think it's actually
I respect her creative choices.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it just that's the best. Definitely, like in high school, like I definitely had like music friends, obviously, like in band and all that stuff. But like collegiate music has led me to meet a lot of people that just like appreciate music in the same way I do, and a lot of things in the same way I do, which is really cool.
Right. And you know, like going through college now, right? And you get to a place where in like that specific field, right? You've gone through high school and you know, just all through grade school, and it's kind of a thing where you have other band people around you, but like you don't necessarily, if you really love music and you have like a deep passion for it, there's not necessarily a ton of people around you that have that same kind of thing. And when you get into a place where there's so many people that like think similarly to you and have an appreciation for what they're doing and really take the time and effort to put out like really cool products of their musical ability, I think it's something that should be very valued, and we're very privileged to experience.
Yeah, well, in like high school music, in any realm, orchestra, choir, band, like if you want to do that at a college level, you're probably pretty good compared to the rest of your peers. I think that one of my favorite college music memories is like my first like symphonic band rehearsal, and just saying that to the other freshmen I was sitting next to, "Oh my gosh, I suck." Yeah. It was a feeling I had never had before in a musical setting like that, because you're always like one of the better people in your ensemble. Right. Exactly. So it's like, and it's not that it's easy to be like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm the best," and like you be really snotty about it, but like you that realization that like you suck is so powerful.
It's insane
because it's so motivating.
Yeah. You get so like for example, I go into my old county and I get first chair, right? Oh, yeah. And then I get to my first master class and I got this dude playing some Kiko Abe like marimba piece and just like absolutely shredding it, and I'm sitting there just like, I have no idea what I'm fucking doing here.
One of the first pieces that we did, it was a John Mackey piece, who, if you don't know, is notorious for stupid hard things. Like melodies and I was sitting next to the first horn, like the principal horn for the ensemble at that point, and I was blown away,
just cracked out of his mind.
Oh my gosh! Yeah. So, and like he's one of my great horn friends like to this day. Like we bonded so much through that, like through those 2 semesters that we sat next to each other, and it was like, but it's so empowering to like, and this is kind of like what we were talking about before, is that like being able to like laugh at yourself like when we make like mistakes and stuff, is that like being able to say like, oh my gosh, I suck,
right,
and like being motivated. That's one of the coolest things about music.
Yeah,
is that like people like appreciate like when you mess up, because at the end of the day, that's how you get better.
Right.
That's the coolest thing about music.
And it's also a thing. It's just like humbling you, and it can be very easy in a setting where you're really good at something to stay in that same setting, right? Because you're comfortable there. But when you go into a place where there's someone better than you, because there's always, no matter what you do, there's always someone better than you. And that's something that like you gotta remember, and just like stay humble in whatever you're doing, you know, because you could be like the best at something in your friend group or you know, like in the county for like per se, right? Yeah. But then you get somewhere else and it's like you're gonna get your ass kicked.
Oh, 100%.
And that's good. That's a good thing.
It's
but
so
like,
good. Well, and like I will forever say like the reason I went into music is because of like the way it like it, and this just like proves with like the like sucking with music. It's like that's such an innate human feeling. And that's 100% the best thing about music. Like I will, especially because I play brass, it's just like one of those things, like the feeling of like a brass ensemble like around you and these like warm, powerful chords. Like, could I tell you like how like fancy of a chord? No, I couldn't. I don't care. It's like there's just like that moment where like music clicks and it's like just so good.
It's when you get into that pocket, and it's just like,
it's like, you know, like when it's like, and vibing. Especially like like, you know, like I'm assuming have you seen Soul, like the Disney film?
I haven't yet. I'm sorry, don't kill me. I know I'm sorry.
Oh no. Okay, well, so in Soul, one of the things that they talk about is just like, it's about a band director, so you know. Yeah. Now you're a business major, I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't have to watch that kind of stuff anymore.
But no, so they talk a lot about being like, of like loving your craft and like being like in the zone when you do it. And I think that that's such like a powerful thing. That's like, obviously it doesn't just apply to music, like
sure.
But like music especially, I think such like a, because at the end of the day, like the French horn doesn't like play me. Like it's a, if you like took a French horn, it's literally just a hunk of brass.
Yeah, right. And
which is so cool when you think about the fact that like the way it can sound, or any instrument.
Yeah, but music has been around like forever, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah,
you know, and it's just one of the premier forms of entertainment.
Yeah.
Back again. It happened again. But we're back again. We're on the struggle bus currently is what's happening.
See, but if we didn't know each other so well, then we wouldn't be able to deal with this.
Listen, stop.
I'm trying to be so positive and it's not happening.
It's just going downhill. We love it.
No. So band.
Yeah. So you were gonna bring up about marching band, how like when you go into like that space and you have like some of those brass players that are doing their thing.
For sure, yeah. No, it's like brass and percussion playing is so different, which is part of the reason why it makes it so cool, especially like a marching band setting where everything is together. Like it exists in like a concert band setting, but like not in the same way. It's like there's a lot of like ensemble moments that will happen that like only happen if the brass and percussion are like actually in.
Right.
And it's just like it's such a different thing. Like percussion stuff like will always get you hyped. Like there's like brass players get like hyped with like when we do cool stuff, but like percussion players are crazy.
Right. Well,
like when like things are like tight and like in.
Yeah.
Like brass is much more like there's much more like nuance, like intonation wise and stuff like that, which makes it so cool.
When you go to one of those like DCI events and you get over to like a drumline playing, and you'll see like the giant groups that are like starting to form around, and they're just like losing.
And it's all drummers.
Minds.
It's all drummers.
They're all drummers, of course, because and a lot of them are like high school kids that like never seen anything like that, and they're like playing in their line and they're just like dirty as shit, so they don't really know like what clean is, so they get there and their little heads just explode.
Yeah.
With like, wow, this is what we should sound like. But with brass though, there's like especially when you get into like the horn circles and you, like those warm-ups where you're like hitting the crunch chords and
especially like
stuff.
especially some of like the like high level like ballads. Like,
so good,
so pretty.
Yeah.
And it's like and oftentimes it's super simple stuff, and that's one of the awesome things. Like, music is very complicated.
Yeah.
Like, even like just like the whole idea that like it's like crazy sound waves.
Right. It's just sound waves.
It's just sound waves. But like it's so complicated. But just like simple things that like sound so good. Right. It's like music was always been. I mean, we were saying it's like music has always existed,
right?
And we bond through it. Yeah. Everyone always bonds through it, and it's like, it's definitely something that has gotten me through a lot.
Right. Even the level of like just getting around with a couple people and like not necessarily playing anything like written down, just like getting with a couple people and just like trying to improvise just like simple stuff. You know, it's just like a nice group thing that you can do with one another, especially when you're like very musical focus when you get with people in that kind of setting. Like, we used to do drum circles back in high school sometimes, and we would just like pull out a bunch of African drums and just get in a big old circle and start just like going. And you know, that's some of the most fun that I think anybody can have with music, is just like trying to experience it on any kind of level, as long as it's like communal. I think that's kind of the point of music.
Yeah, so you know that you've done music correctly when you go from like playing music and like listening to music to like experiencing music.
Right.
Like, that's such like a deep thing. Like there are certain, like there are songs, like even like, you know, like popular songs that like make me feel a certain way.
Yeah.
And that's just so like, I'm not gonna like look at like a math problem and be like, I mean, it's gonna make me cry, but like, it's like, but it's not gonna like, it's not gonna be like an emotional trip. I don't know. I just think that like, I don't know. I mean, we could say it over and over again. Music has done so much for us.
Well, I mean, think about like watching a movie like Star Wars without any music.
Oh yeah.
Like how much that actually takes away from the movie, and you would never know it until it happens, because that score is unbelievable.
Oh, it's incredible.
You know, and it just puts you in that kind of place, because we all have like some kind of association with things, and like for that example specifically, like I don't think space could sound any other way.
Space exists with just like big fanfare, like that is space.
This is space. This is what space
the
is.
final frontier.
Stop. I hate it. Thanks. Oh shit, dude. Yeah. One thing that I know is definitely like affected a lot of us with music has been like COVID.
Yeah.
Going through, like for that department, you know, it's very hard to continue what we would normally do.
Yeah.
When we have the circumstance where we can't be in person, you know, because that's like the whole thing.
The memory that I always get brought back to is that like we were playing in, I don't remember, was it like Doylestown or something, Pennsylvania, with Marching Man last fall, in front of like a whole load of high schoolers, and it was this like hot, humid, nasty night.
Yeah.
And we perform our show, and it was like the first time that we'd really like gotten to like the end of it, and like all these high schoolers like cheering us on, like, and whatever, and that's so cool. But like I remember like we go and like do like the horns down after like playing this like huge like long like loud note that's like completely takes it out of you, and like I remember looking at one of my friends who's also on the horn line with me, and both of us like looked at each other and kind of accepted that like one of us was probably going to pass out in the next 15 seconds. And it's just like, you know, like I miss those little like micro interactions that like, because like in like I said, it's listening to music, and even like I will always struggle. We did a lot of stuff last semester with like electronic music and like recording things and chopping it up. It's not the same.
No, and for that like genre of music specifically, because there is a place for electronic music. I just don't know if
it's not my dig.
Yeah, I mean, no, I've over quarantine actually I've gotten a little bit more into that kind of music and appreciate it for what it is, just because of like the situation, because that's one of the things that can still thrive through this. But trying to get a whole college of people that are in symphonic band to try to sit down
going from like Beethoven to like Skrillex is not an easy progression, to say the least.
No. It's tough to get the same thing out of it that you normally would.
Yeah, for sure. COVID has taught everyone to kind of like adapt to, because like everyone's had to adapt. It's like,
well, most people, most people, other than Florida.
Florida has also had to change.
Florida
as well
doesn't give a fuck.
We make it sound like we're both from like the north, and so it's like it's a whole different level. Like,
well, yeah, but I don't know. They go crazy.
COVID's like, because I'm such a social person. It's so weird because I'm very introverted. Like if you don't know me, I'm very quiet. But like. So much of like, and not just me, but like everyone, like people need that social interaction.
Definitely.
And I don't think people really realized that until suddenly it was taken away. It's like we all took it for granted.
Right. And I remember when we kind of like got that news, we were all up in the dorm.
We were so excited.
Oh, we were high. I was sitting there, I was spring break and shit. And it was just like we didn't know the severity of the situation when it first took place. And what was crazy about that is like we had to move out the like same day. Awful. They were like, you get one day, you gotta get out of here, and everyone's just rushing and going. And it was like it almost reminded me of something like a zombie movie, or just like everybody's just getting like just running around and shit. Like there's just panic.
Oh yeah, it was so weird because like obviously like no one took it, like if you look like back like March 2020, no one took it seriously. It was
like, we'll be gone for 2 weeks, get back, we're good.
Well, and it's like, oh, like it's like a little flu, like like
right,
oh well, and it's obviously very clearly not.
Once we started hitting like highest deaths on a day in America, like every single day, it was
not like, the one, and it's like. Is that classic thing? It's like finding the balance. Is like I would love if like tomorrow suddenly everything was like back to normal. We could all like see friends again consistently, right. Not have to worry about like where like what have you been doing with your week? Like is it like have you been responsible with your time and stuff? Yeah. But yeah, it's like you miss like little things. It's like obviously like I enjoy like seeing my close friends, but it's like the people that you barely see. It's like those conversations that you don't have anymore, which is so weird.
And it just changes. Like the whole social dynamic, like for like the two of you to get here, you had to take COVID tests so that we're like all are good, and some people aren't taking that like necessarily that much precaution, and that's part of the reason that we're still here is because well,
like you look at places like what is it like New Zealand, they're just all kind of like chilling,
because they're all like, good. They did what they were supposed to do and now they're fine, and it's like a big chunk of the country right now is just like it's kind of split, and if we all just took some time to calm the hell down,
well, it's like how crazy is it the idea that because so if you say that like, and obviously I am not a medical professional, do not take this seriously, but like how crazy is it that like theoretically if you say that like COVID has like an incubation period of like 2-3 weeks, if everyone just locked themselves up for 3 weeks,
cut it,
done,
but
would never happen. Would never happen.
No, and America is so huge as well that it's But it's unfortunate the level at which some people take it, because and especially as like someone who is high risk and have high risk people around me, it's like like some people are like, well, it's not going to affect me, and it's like, well, yeah, but it's going to affect like those of us who aren't so lucky to be okay.
Yeah, well, it's like, and so, one curious question. So did obviously you recently switched to a business major.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that COVID time music, that change, do you think that that affected it somehow?
Oh, sure. You know, I would lie if I said that it didn't affect it in any way. And it's a thing of, I don't know if it was necessarily that I wasn't being able to play that was the issue, or if it was just a thing of I'm like locked up here, right? And we're all locked up in like one place, and you get a lot of time with your thoughts and really figuring out, you know, for me anyway, I took the time to kind of figure out what I wanted with my life, and I felt like the music degree was not necessarily where I wanted to end up, so I have since had a change in direction, you know, and that's just something that I have discovered through the pandemic.
Yeah, for me, like it's that, and maybe you agree with this, is like the like splitting music from like, for me, music has always been very fun, very social, but especially during COVID, it's felt like
it's a pain in the ass.
It felt like work.
Yeah.
And I've never felt like that. Like I even like things like music theory for some reason. Like I've always enjoyed like that side of music. No. But like now it's just like a pain.
Yeah.
And like don't get me wrong, professors are trying their best, and like,
right,
you know, Godspeed to them. And in any major, professors are trying their best, and I give applause to those that are succeeding.
Right.
But there's also
it's difficult.
It's 100%. I am glad that I am a student right now, to say the least.
Yeah.
I could not imagine.
Yeah, imagine being a graduate from last semester or the one before that.
We have friends like that.
Exactly. Like, you're going out into the workforce, and you got to just immediately go online. This is something you've been waiting for 4 or 5 years of college, to go out and finally join the workforce, because they prepare you to specifically go out, get a job as like some kind of director of a band, and you're getting out there, and it's like nothing like you've seen or heard of or prepared for within your 4 years.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's tough. It's a tough situation.
They say history repeats itself. If you look at like when they had the whole like Spanish flu in 1919, what was after that? Roaring 20s. 20s, it's about to pop off. Maybe.
Okay, bud.
You have to be hopeful. You have to be a little bit hopeful.
This started in the 20s.
Well, yes, I understand that.
We are definitely roaring.
But the thing is that they had the whole, because it was 29 where the Depression was, right?
Okay.
So like we just put it off a couple years.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. That actually checks out perfectly.
I'm totally being very hopeful, and I probably could totally sound like an absolute like, just like, oh, it's gonna get better, guys. But like, it's the sort of thing where you just kind of have to try and have at least somewhat of a positive outlook. It's super hard.
That's okay.
Because I'm very pessimistic.
It's okay, Fauci. They all believe you.
I am not a medical professional. No, thank you.
No,
I like music. I play horn good.
Optimism is good. We need that for sure. It's been a very long time, and it's like, I know people have been like, yeah, it's just a couple more months, and you've been saying that for months. Like, I don't. If it was me, if I had to say so, again, not a medical professional, I just see people wearing masks for like the next 2-3 years.
Yeah, it's a real reality.
Because it's not like once we get a vaccine out, like it's gone. It's still gonna be around.
Yeah, well, and it's that whole thing that like it's to a point, like there will come a time where we kind of need to start like, hey, like let's get life going. Let's let's try and figure out how we can make this closer to what we believe it should be. Obviously it's a virus, so it's not going away.
Right, and that's the difficult thing about it, is because there's also businesses that have suffered like immensely from the whole situation, because there has been the quarantine mandates, and people not allowed to like fill up capacity of the restaurants or business or whatever. They're not able to function like they normally would, and that's a side of it that maybe not a lot of people are seeing. and don't appreciate, because a lot of those small businesses are suffering a lot right now.
The world is never going to be the same.
No, it can't be.
Which is wild.
And if it's never going to be like it was, yes. So, but it's gonna take a long time for it to be any like semblance of what it was, at the very least.
Well, it's like we were speaking, like it's that classic. For those who don't know, I just finished The Office the other night, and
first time.
Yeah, I just finished The Office for the first time the other night.
All of us that have seen it at least 15 other times.
I am absolutely in love with it. But no, there's at the very end, they kind of like talk about the idea that like, you know, like you don't realize what you have until suddenly it's gone.
Right.
Which, like, you know, is so easy to do.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, when I look at something as simple as, like we were saying, is like a very sweaty, I feel like I'm going to pass out moment on the field is like, at the moment I was just kind of like, you know, same old, whatever.
Right.
But like now when I look back, it's like, this was a special moment.
Or here's one that I've thought about the other day, and this one like sucks. Is just for us when we went. You remember the day we went out and we played futsal?
Yeah,
and all those people showed
guys.
up, and then all of a sudden we're just like rolling back, like 3-on-3s, just like people switching out and everything, and like that is so far away from where we're at right now.
That's crazy. Just one of the great things about people is that, like, the way that like you can come together over something as simple as, say, like a soccer ball.
Right.
And yeah, obviously that can't happen right now, which is so sad.
I know. It's definitely.
And like this isn't like getting everyone down. Obviously, I am hopeful that.
But acknowledge the
situation.
situation.
Absolutely. Acknowledging the situation. It is crap. You know, like, no one is saying that a pandemic is fun.
Exactly.
No.
Right.
But there's also a lot of things that we can be grateful for as well. In the sense that, like, I'm a lot better with computers than I was a year ago today.
True.
I still feel quite bad with them, but...
yeah, I'd say that's fair.
There's definitely different things. And, like, obviously, like, Zoom sucks. Because, like, it's all we do.
Yeah.
But, like, it's a great platform when you think about it.
Yeah. Well, here's something to think about that I thought about the other day.
Okay.
Is for people in school, I think we have completely eliminated the snow day.
I was so upset about this the other day because we got quite a bit of snow where we were. I think we ended up like 4 or 5 inches, which in Maryland is plenty.
Right.
And they were like, "Oh yeah, no, physical campus is closed, but psych, you have classes."
Get online, yeah. Which I don't think we're ever gonna see a snow day again.
Like,
honestly,
I hope that that's not real. But like,
when you're a kid and you like your parents come up to you and you're like, "Hey, little Jimmy, school is closed," and then you like go grab like your tiny little sled and start going.
I don't know. I feel like I really hope that like there 100% is administrators just like, haha, no, like we will have school.
Right.
But it's like if the thing that like means I don't get school is the power has to go out, you will catch me with like wire clippers up on the like
right.
Like I will be there like with like, or like hedge clippers, you know those big like hedge clippers. Right. I'll be up there trimming. Like and like we there's like the real small. I hate heights. But I will conquer my fear of heights for the hope that little Timmy gets a snow day because I cut the power line.
So you'll get all the way up to the power line with your little like shears and you'll hit it and then you'll just electrocute yourself and die.
Hey, anything for little Timmy.
And Timmy's gonna be there.
Little Timmy's gonna be like,
snow
no school,
day.
Go sledding. And it'll be because I sacrificed myself on the power line.
Right. Oh man.
Anything for little Timmy, right?
Anything.
Maybe that's why I'm
Timmy.
getting into teaching. Anything for little Timmy.
Anything for little Timmy, man. Oh, Christ. Yeah. But, we're getting through. We're doing the best we can.
Absolutely.
I got you two here right now. That's pretty cool. We did that. We were able to figure out a way to do that.
Yeah, and all it comes down to is just... And, like, it's so... obviously, follow the rules and everything. But, like, it's just like... If you are responsible and follow the rules, there is still plenty you can do.
Yeah.
Like, and, like, spend time outdoors.
Oh, dude, that is...
It's so nice.
That is so true.
I went on a walk the other day.
Beautiful.
Incredible.
Outside is great. If you don't go outside, go outside. Say hi to a bird or a squirrel or like a beetle or something. I don't know.
Or go outside and listen to an episode of this podcast. That's a great thing to do.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, man. Yeah. Okay. Enough of that.
Oh, are we going serious now?
We're
about to get. Oh,
this
no.
is the time. David, shirt me.
I'm
Beautiful.
my cup so I don't like break something.
So, we have this new segment on this podcast.
Yes.
We debuted with our friend David over there. We call it the tunnel vision topic, okay? And basically, each week we have a guest.
Yes.
We're going to find a topic that we have very strong opinions about. We have tunnel vision about.
Mm-hmm.
And something that we think that no matter what somebody else brings up, we're going to be stuck on that opinion.
I'm telling you right now.
And we're going to argue this.
I'm telling you right now, there's no point arguing because I know I'm right.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. Here, I'll give you this.
Yes, I was about to say, please.
Today we'll be talking about who the greatest superhero of all time is. Okay? And over here on the dumb side, we have Dan.
In the big P.D. Parker side.
And then on the right side, actually, on the correct side, we have me representing the boy, the one and only Batman.
All I'm saying is that you gave me...
Would you like to start?
All I'm saying is you gave me Lego. I'm going to be fiddling with this for the next year.
Would you like to start?
You know what? I will gladly let you go first.
Okay. Sweet. So here's the thing, right? I'll start out. I'll acknowledge the fact that Spider-Man, fantastic. Okay? Really cool. One of my personal favorites.
At least it's not a Crunch Bar.
That is true. Because Crunch Bars are terrible. Check out the last podcast. But what I will say about Spider-Man, he's just... sometimes it's just a little weak for me. You know what I'm saying? So Batman, the appeal, right? Because I get the appeal of Spider-Man. He makes jokes and he's relatable and stuff. But Batman, that world is unmatched by any other superhero world. And it's a fact. Has some of the greatest villains of all time. And that is... So, one of the greatest superhero films that has ever been made is The Dark Knight. And that's also one of the greatest films ever made, just in general. And you can't say that about a lot of superhero films, right? Some superhero movies, they're cool. They're fine. They're all right. Spider-Man 2, like the OG series.
The original Spider-Man
The original
2.
series, not the Amazing
Yeah.
Spider-Man. Spider-Man 2, fantastic superhero movie, right?
Absolutely.
But in terms of movie, just in general movie, not really that good. Okay, and then let's also look at a recent one in the Batman universe, the Joker. Incredible what Joaquin Phoenix did in that movie. That movie is absolutely fantastic.
I will give him that.
Right, and then we also have to bring up all the games, right? All the Arkham games. Some of the greatest video games I've ever played in my life.
Fair.
In just insane combat. And again, it's just like the whole universe of it all, right? Gotham City, it's just so iconic, right? It's like a little bit dark and moody, but like life is moody, okay? It's not all sunshine and butterflies all the time. What do you got? The Rhino? That's not intimidating. Cool. Venom? Yeah. Okay, he is a little goo dude. Nobody cares. I'm talking the joke. This man kills people, right? He gets out there, you know what I'm saying? He shoots motherfuckers. He doesn't give a damn. He full ass put a bomb on a boat and he was like, pick. I will blow up hundreds of people right now. Rhino's like, I'm going to run down the city because I'm mad. Is weak.
All I'm saying, hear me out. Batman is just an orphan with psychological problems who has a lot of money. That's it. Spider-Man is this relatable teenage guy. He experiences loss. He gets he has powers. And okay, I understand that the film is not out yet, but this new Spider-Man film that they're going to release is going to be a madness. Absolute madness. Have you not heard about this?
Oh, I heard about it.
They're gonna have Tom Holland, probably, arguably.
Can I just stop you right there?
Yeah. No, sorry, I let you talk. I let you talk.
Going to.
You gotta let me finish. They're gonna have all 3 of the Spider-Men, which is gonna be absolutely incredible. The Spider-Man video games, also iconic. I will admit, Arkham games, absolutely incredible. But the Spider-Man game, especially the one they released on the PlayStation recently, absolutely incredible game.
Miles Morales was weak.
Like I said,
Fact.
The one they released on the PS4.
Fact.
But we're talking Spider-Man, not Miles Morales.
Spider-Man universe still counts.
Okay, well, there's plenty of stuff in the DC
Whack.
universe that's kind of whack too. Plus, I would also like to say, I think we have an imposter amongst our midst because this is his Lego, and I think over there you will also find Spider-Man Uno cards.
Incorrect.
David, if you please, would you retrieve the Spider-Man Uno cards?
I will kill you.
If you would like to go around the camera so you're not in front.
They've planted this on me. I plead the 5th.
Yeah, right there. Thank you. Above the 3rd shelf. But you're come on, it's not that hard. Thank you, David. So you see here, he had these cards. I did not bring these. I don't live here.
It's false.
I would like to say, where else do you have Spider-Man?
Where's the photo proof?
Where's the photo proof? They've been on that shelf the entire podcast, my friend.
Yeah, you can't see the shelf though.
Well, I'm saying, if you look in here, so I'll just use the Uno cards as an example. Obviously, we have Spider-Man. Absolutely, Electro, brilliant hero.
Hero? He doesn't even know what the heroes and villains are. You're pulling at strings, bro.
Rhino?
Pulling at strings.
I'm not pulling at strings.
You're pulling
at
webs.
Who is pulling at string? I was about to say. Exactly. See, you made the own joke. You are a Spider-Man fanboy. You even know it. You just got a little. I'm
not saying I dislike Spider-Man.
Blue shirt.
I'm saying that Batman's better.
Batman is not better.
Have you seen a Batman meme? Incredible stuff.
Name a one Batman meme that's not I'm Batman.
It's just any of the memes from the old TV show.
You're telling me
any of them.
You're telling me that trumps the Spider-Man thing where they have 3 Spider-Men all pointing at each other?
It's overplayed. It's a fact.
It's not a fact.
You know what? It's also a fact. Your face is dumb. So invalidated.
Well, and
truth bomb.
What's one of the most iconic films in movie history?
Tell me.
Tobey Maguire finger guns in Spider-Man 3.
It's a wreck.
It's not.
It's a wreck.
It might not be the best film of all time.
It's an absolute
Finger guns, absolutely incredible.
It took them. What was it? 5 movies, 5 Spider-Man movies to finally get it right.
No, do not slander the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies.
They are objectively bad. I get it. We were children when they came out, but we were children,
bro.
Okay, you got to take the nostalgia factor out of it. They're not.
All I'm
good.
saying, I will forever relate better with a guy from New York City, a regular dude. You telling me that like big rich man Bruce Wayne who like punches people in his spare time? Nah, don't even.
Bro, Bruce seen some shit, dog.
Well, yeah, cool. He's an orphan. Guess who else is an orphan? Spider-Man.
His parents got.
Well, yeah, so do Spider-Man's.
Yeah, but it was Spider-Man's fault.
It wasn't Spider-Man's fault.
Yes, it was.
Bro,
that's like the whole point of it. They were
already dead. That was Uncle Ben.
It's Spider-Man's fault that Uncle Ben died. That's the whole.
It's not Spider-Man's fault.
Yes, it is. That's like the whole point of like I gotta like start taking responsibility for like what I can do. That with great power comes great responsibility.
Does Batman have a catchphrase like that? Exactly. You're a Spider-Man fanboy. I'm a Spider-Man fanboy. We're all Spider-Man fanboys because Spider-Man is the best.
Rachel. With that being said, I think that wraps up this.
Okay, completely the Rachel. Like what was that?
It's called a catchphrase, Dan. Don't do that. I want to put it on record that David just dabbed in the background. Anyway,
how about this? New thing.
Okay, we're done.
No. We can agree on one thing.
Okay.
David is the worst superhero.
David's stupid.
And on that note,
thank you guys so much for coming out and watching this episode of Tunnel Vision. I really appreciate it. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, rate if you're listening, and come out next week for an absolute banger with both of these two. It's going to be a mess. And we love a train wreck here. All right. Peace out.